And this doesn't apply to, you may actually see more on top of this, because this is not the utility program. This is actually a state-run program. So there's a utility program that we'll get to later that also has 75%. So you could actually double dip and get both of those. This one goes up to $2,000, $2,000, and it's 15% above code upgrade. Now that means that if your local code says that you have to put an R13 insulation level in the walls, and you put an R19 in there, for instance, I know probably none of you really care what that even means, but if your code says this and you're going above and beyond that, they're going to actually reward you here with an extra percentage off of that as well. So, but this only applies to if you're doing an addition or a large gut renovation. One of the stipulations in there is that you have to really add 500 square feet to your house. That's what they're looking for with this kind of program. But this does apply in a lot of cases where we talk to. So one of the important things there is just to work with a HERS rater so that you can get in on this program. Go ahead, Bruce.
Chris, what is a HERS rater?
A HERS rater, that's when you see HERS rater, think energy auditor, because a HERS rater is just a type of energy auditor, if that makes sense. So it's a certification that you do for energy auditing. So it's a
so it's a certification that energy audit firms have, you know.
Some of them do.
Some.
It's obviously one of the things you want to check.
So you have to be working with an energy audit firm that has the HERS certification.
That's right. That's exactly
Who
right.
issues those certifications? The state?
No, it's actually a national certification. So there's two main, just to back up in terms of energy audits. There's two main certifications for energy auditing. One is the BPI, which is the Building Performance Institute certification, and one is the HERS, which is the Home Energy Rating System certification. And having one of those two, if you have an energy rater that doesn't have one of those two, tell them to get out of here, because they're not really energy raters. It's almost like doing real estate without having a license or something. It's not to that point yet, but it quickly will be, where it's a pretty significant thing.
JOEGREEN has it.
And we have both of those. I think that's what Tom was going to say. So, go ahead. I think
What qualifications or certifications does an auditor have?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. With the BPI or the HERS, that is the certification.
Okay.
So, they go through the classes, they take the tests and everything, and they get the actual certification and everything.
So someone who can access, say, the utility company money, they have to have either one of those?
That one's a little bit different, because the utilities sort of have their own qualifications that you can do without being BPI or HERS certified. Because what they want to see is an insulation contractor or somebody like that who can do the work effectively, but they don't necessarily have to be, they're not doing the audits or anything. So
an auditor can show up without either of the credentials you just mentioned and still access significant savings from the utility company?
No, not an auditor. No, what I'm talking about is like the people actually doing the work and everything.
Right, but
that's what the
auditor would
utility
have to be coming out of that world. The two credentials you just talked about.
Yeah, if they're not, tell them to get out of it. It really is. They can. There's not a legal precedent yet to say you can't do energy audits without having these certifications.
Right.
But for your own knowledge, that's what they should have. Does that make sense?
Right, well, I guess it all depends on what certification the utility companies recognize when they reimburse you. So I'm saying, how do you get the money?
Well, we're talking about two different things. The contractors who do the work go through a different qualification process. We're talking about the people who sort of diagnose the work.
People who find the work and recommend what work needs to be done. Right?
Exactly.
Those are only come in two flavors, like you just mentioned.
Yeah, exactly.
There is no third way.
There's
independent energy.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, there's a bunch of different ways, but those two are the nationally recognized standards. So,
okay.
Go ahead.
To piggyback on what Chris was saying for you, is that Chris and his firm can give you a certificate, right, a HERS certificate
That's right. In fact, we can certify an Energy Star home, things like that, whereas a non-HERS certified person cannot, so.
Right, so any legitimate auditor ought to be able to lead you on a path to a HERS rating
Exactly.
without
Well,
going to anybody else.
it doesn't necessarily have to be a HERS rating. We actually prefer to do the BPI
okay,
standard, but
okay.
yeah, either or.
Okay, right, good.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Was there another?
Very helpful.
Wow, there's questions everywhere.